Hello, princesses, and welcome back to Not Fit for Print Beauty with me, Rebecca. Today we're going to be looking at a brand new product by Nars. They've been really good lately. And this new product is called the Radiant Creamy Liquid Color Corrector. They are $30 each and come in 4 shades. I picked up light and medium because I didn't know what I was and thought maybe we'll combine, but also they come in medium, deep, and deep. So hopefully there's something in there for everyone. Nars has been for a while there. I wasn't as interested in Nars products, but lately everything I get from them I am really in love with. So I was excited to try this as well. Now you might even be a fan of the Nars Radiant Creamy Liquid Concealer that they advise to go with this. You could use any concealer, but you might already be a fan of that. There's a lot of devotees. I tend to prefer my little Armani Power Fabric, but like I said, their Radiant Creamy Liquid Concealer is a very popular product. So this is a kind of sister companion to it, the Radiant Liquid Color Correct. It is obviously a radiant finish. I don't have to say that again. And like I said, 4 shades and $30. Now this also gives us a chance to do a little refresher on Color Corrector, which is, along with eyeliner recommendations, color correctors are one of the biggest questions that I get from you guys. And a lot of you have a lot of knowledge yourself, so I am not talking down to anyone. Any knowledge that you have that you want to drop into comments is always welcome. All opinions are important here, and I mean that. Okay, so there's 3 different types really of color correctors. There's a straightforward color corrector. We'll talk about that in a minute. There's a color corrector concealer combo, and then there's kind of a subtle color corrector that can be used with a concealer or without. We're going to talk about both, and rather than comparing to every color corrector on the market, what would just take us too long, but you're welcome to ask below or over on Instagram, and we'll talk about it. But right now, for our purposes here, I'm just going to compare it to another relatively new product, which is the Fenty Bright Fix Eye Brightener. So we're going to talk about how they're slightly different, and then we're going to actually try this because my face is completely done except for color corrector and concealer today. So I'm kind of ready to put that on. A little bit out of the order I would normally do it, but you know. Okay, so the Nars product is a radiant finish color concealer, though it only comes in 4 shades. If we were going to do a straight up traditional makeup artist or theater makeup or anything that you would need makeup for, color correction, it would be a little bit different. We would use a greenish color to cover redness. A yellow color also can kind of do redness, or the reddish purpley blue if we get little thread veins. I like to use yellow to cover red, but traditionally a green color corrector would do that. An orange color corrector would be for dark circles if you have a deeper complexion, and pink or very, very cool shade really kind of warms up darkness and kind of cuts the shadow, especially under the eye, and I do get that. My issue, and again, please tell me your comments below, my issue with traditional color correcting, the other day, for instance, my daughter was getting ready to go out and she wanted to do really traditional with the green color corrector and concealer over. You just never get rid of that green. I was like, honey, and she looked in the mirror, she goes, it's still green. And you end up looking like, what was it, the Wicked Witch in Oz that was buried under the house with the green face? It never quite goes away. If you're a professional makeup artist, I'm sure you have a handle on it. But those of us doing makeup at home, I find the traditional color correcting, it does work. Green does counteract red, but good luck getting rid of the green unless you have a really, really thick concealer to go, oh, and you know, the layers start to add up. So I prefer a little bit more subtle. I like to use something with a warmer tinge to cover any sort of red that I get around my nose, and I like to use something with a pinker or a cooler tone to kind of bring my eyes out of the shadows. So we're going to play with the Nars. We're also going to compare it to the Fenty. The Fenty, I bought shade 4, which is Crepe, and shade 7, which is Deep Butter. And I bought shade 7 because it's warmer leaning, so I use that around the nose. And shade 4, the Crepe, because it's cooler leaning under the eyes. And I really love this product, except for 2 little things. So we're going to see if Nars can beat it. I like this product except for the fact that it has kind of a powder finish. And sometimes when my skin is feeling a tad bit drier, it can almost look a bit scaly. Unless I really hydrate underneath, it can almost look a bit scaly. And the other problem is, let me show you right here by just coming up on camera, and let me let that hopefully zoom in there. It's messy. It's messy. The tip is messy. The application is this round tip that you have to then squeeze. And if you squeeze it here, it goes out all over the tube. If you try to squeeze it and dot it on your face, you get clumps of it on your face. And I'm always wearing more of it than I need to. It applies almost foundation amounts. So then I just kind of squeeze it onto my finger, and then there's extra, and you've got to go wash your hand. It's not an ideal application process, but I do like the product. I still use it all the time. It just has its limitations. This is the Fenty product is a color corrector / concealer. You can go ahead and put a concealer over, or just use this to kind of color correct and conceal. So that's already a difference. The Nars product is only a color corrector. I brought out my Armani Power Fabric just because it's a personal favorite to use as a concealer over. This is not really the Nars product advised to be used alone, but we're going to take a look at that because it could be that Nars just wants to make sure they're still also selling their Radiant Creamy Liquid concealer as well, because they do advise to use the two together. So we'll take a look, but I think it's a more traditional color corrector. And traditional color correctors, especially if they're green, they need a average, ordinary skin-colored concealer over the top. All right, so let's start. It looks like this window here is an actual window into the product, which is kind of cool. So you can tell when it's getting when there's getting to be less product. Let's take a look. I brought 2 light and medium. I had no idea which I would be. So let's go ahead and see. So there's the light. So that's interesting. It has a little bit of an orange cast to it. So that would definitely be great for erasing redness. If you can see that, let me make that swatch a bit bigger. It is almost skin toned, so it is might be a little hard to see. Maybe that would be good for under the eyes. Let's try that. It might be too light. And let's look at the medium, which I worry for me might be too dark, but we are going to put concealer over it. This is, let's see what shade this one leans, if I can do this correct. And this is a much, much, much oranger color there. So it should kind of erase darkness. But those get dark awfully quick. Let's take a look and see. And I might just make a mess of things, but I don't care. I got no ego involved in this. If we make a mess together, let's just make a mess together. Okay, so I am going to try this light shade, because like I said, I got 2 because I had no idea which I'd be. And I'm going to try this light shade in these dark inner areas in my eyes. Let's see if I can kind of zoom you in to see that. It's not pretty, but okay. So I just dotted that right there because I do get kind of these sunken eyes. And let's see what we think, and let's see if I could actually get away with wearing this as a concealer. I don't like to keep building the product. My issue with color correctors is it gets a bit thick, right? So I don't want, if I don't have to. I'm staring in the mirror here. What do you guys think? That's a little better and brighter, isn't it? I kind of like that under the eyes. I'm not getting the reverse raccoon effect that I thought I might, but these shades do go dark quickly. Of course, they are color correctors, not concealer, so let's not confuse things. I am wondering, however, if I can just go ahead and use this kind of as both. Because like I said, I don't like the product buildup. And if it doesn't show, why am I going to add that extra step, right? I mean, other than the fact that I suppose it makes it last longer or whatever. So that's really definitely brightening. Now I have blush and stuff on already, so it's not like, I mean, Normally that would be on before I did the rest of my face. So I'm wondering if it is making a tad bit of a reverse raccoon effect. And we can certainly try to put a little concealer over it. But I think we're going to have to do that anyway with this one. Let's try this color corrector over this area here in my nose, which is perpetually red because I have allergies. You'll notice if you are have been a long time subscriber. If you're new, hi, nice to meet you. But if you've been here a while, you'll know I am often very sniffly because I have such allergies, you guys. Always have, always will. Like I love kitties and I love dogs, but they make me sneeze. It's like some sort of a joke by Mother Nature. All right, so let's see what we think. So this is going to be really orange toned, but that's okay. And I think, there it is on. And I think we'll have to put some concealer over it. Yes, we will. Okay, the question is, so this is kind of for darkness, but the question is, what does it do? Is the camera picking that up? Let's put a little bit of my favorite Power Fabric over it. This is my Giorgio Armani concealer. And I grabbed the lighter shade that I usually use under my eye. So that might be a little too light, but you get the idea. Okay, so here's what I'm seeing already, princesses. And remember, I'm doing all this as a last step. Normally, we would apply our blush and such after, right? So let's do a little bit of my typical concealer. That's the shade I use under the eyes. Also under the eyes. Okay, so some good news to report already. And I can report this already. It does not pill or get thick. So I have now put a concealer over the color corrector, my traditional everyday concealer. A little bit of a too light shade here, but forgive me, I grabbed that one. And it layered really nicely. I don't feel that thick, heavy buildup. Let me turn my own mirror around again and take a look. I think I definitely look more awake and fresher than I did when we started this video where I had absolutely no concealer on. I also feel, I'm kind of liking this, guys. I also feel like it's set more and protected. Like I feel more shielded. Usually, no matter what sort, and if you're like me with a red nose or darker under eye area, no matter what I do, it's kind of gone right away. And I feel like this with a concealer over it, especially, is really sealed in and I'm kind of set. I'm looking in the viewfinder, princesses. That's why I'm not making eye contact with you. I really think that this feels set and it does not feel too thick. I am very pleased. I also like the application process of the doe foot applicator, which can allow me some precision as opposed to the mess I have been making with the Fenty product. I also like that this is creamy and a little bit radiant. This is of course creamy, but it is so matte that sometimes it kind of pixelates or tiles on my skin, and I'm not finding it with this. I was worried about having to build this up as a color corrector. I was worried about it getting too thick. I do not feel it has done that. This looks like a winner. I didn't know if I would have to return a shade. I think I could also mix them. If you have much fairer skin, I have very light medium skin. I have normal skin, can go dry. I think this would work on every skin type. I think this is another winner product from Nars. I'll keep playing with it, but you know, I really like the Fenty, but my issues came up with it. I'm thinking if you are fairer than me, just go ahead and get the light. And if you are darker than me, go ahead and get the medium deep. Okay, or the medium here for under your eyes if you are darker than me. And if you are the deepest, darkest shade, there is a deep shade. So I think everybody should be covered. If you are very fair, get light. That'll do everything for you. And just put a lighter concealer over it under your eyes if you are very fair skinned. Good stuff. So far, loving it. Giving this the not fit for print beauty A grade so far. I gotta start grading things, don't I? I am a former teacher, you know. Okay, so we'll see how this progresses, but so far, I have very high hopes for these little fellas. Let me know what you think. Did you even know this came out? They were really quiet about this release. It is a new product from Nars, but it was kind of, you know, it's not an eyeshadow palette, so it was kind of a quiet release. Let me know if you heard about it or are interested in it, or if you have any other color correction questions or suggestions, things that have worked for you, throw those below or over on Instagram. I would love to hear what you have to say. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I sure hope you did. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my channel, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.